Hi guys, how are you all? I hope that you all are doing great. Welcome back to Her Chaotic Mind. If you are new here, let me tell you, I am Sreshtha, and here I talk about books, movies, and everything that made my little heart happy. So please do consider subscribing if you think that would be something that you would enjoy. The books that I am gonna talk about today, they are some of those books which I really adore. I love these books because they have been, a kind of free therapy for me. They have helped me realize that there is more to life than, constantly feeling this anxiety to thrive. These are the books that would be perfect for you if you are going through a quarter life crisis, or you feel like your life has turned really slow, you have become really lazy or unproductive, or just lost in general. If you feel like you need some book to not outrightly motivate you like some motivational gurus out there, but help you figure out the feelings, the emotions that you're going through in your quarter life, then my friend, this video is just right for you. So I have curated a list of 5 books for you all, and if you're interested, then without further ado, let's get started. One morning, when Gregory Samsa woke up from troubled dreams, he found himself transformed in his bed into a horrible vermin. If you don't know from where it is from this really tiny book by Franz Kafka. It is called Metamorphosis, and yes, it is essentially about a man waking up and finding himself transformed into a bug. And not so surprisingly, the first thought that really pops up in his head is, how is he going to convince his boss about about him being late, or like missing out on work. So yeah, it truly delves into this inner thought, this emotion that every person in their midlife, in their quarter life actually faces, the constant need to prove themselves, to hustle and provide for their family and be productive. So Franz Kafka is renowned for writing stuff that will give you food for thought, that will make you think and rethink. This is a really tiny read. You can see that it is merely 108 pages, and you can see the size of this book. You can finish this in an hour, but oh my god, the processing time that it will take to get a hold of the whole concept of metamorphosis, it can be years. So it is a really impactful and powerful read. I hope that you read it if you haven't read it already. A cosmic surgeon is faced with love and its imperfections. For the first time, a veteran actor finds himself beholden to his female chauffeur. Chauffeur? Am I pronouncing it right? A recently divorced salesman opens a jazz bar as memories of an ex-lover riff and swell. Across these 7 tales, Haruki Murakami brings his very humor and quiet sense of the surreal to bear with the lives of men who, in their own way, find themselves alone in the world. This is an anthology, a short story collection of Murakami that is not apparently talked about enough. This is called Men Without Women, and I absolutely love this book. I didn't love this book while I was reading this, but in my mind, I kept going back to this. There are 7 different stories of 7 men in different age categories, and they are going through something in their life which they themselves cannot process, which you cannot put into the stereotypical genres of emotions and feelings that is being created by the society. I feel like this is a perfect read if you want to read something bizarre and yet relatable. The 7 stories are so different from one another, it won't even feel like they are part of the same collection. And if you love Murakami's work, if you have read any other books by him and not read this one, then my friend, you are really missing out. You should definitely give this a try. From the beginning of summer to early spring, I lived at the Morisaki bookshop. I spent that period of my life in the spare room of the second floor of the store, trying to bury myself in books. The cramped room barely got any light, and everything felt damp. It smelled constantly of musty old books, but I will always remember the days I spent there, because that's where my real life began. And I know without a doubt that if not for those days, the rest of my life would have been bland, monotonous, and lonely. The Morisaki bookshop is precious to me. It's a place I know I'll never forget. This book, Days at the Morisaki Bookshop, is a Japanese piece of literature, and oh my god, this is a very cozy book to get your hands on when you want to spend a laid back and relaxed weekend or any spare time that you have in your bed or in the most comfy place in your house with a mug of coffee or probably a iced tea considering the weather. This book is perfect to, like, reignite your love for reading. This is not fast paced, it is not at all fast paced, but this book is about falling in love with book. If you're trying to experiment in your life and, like, try out new things, I feel like this book would be perfect, because in this, the plot is that a girl faces the biggest heartbreak of her life and just decides to leave everything and go to his uncle's bookshop and just stay there for a while, run the store, and see where life takes her. Sorry, my dog was in immediate requirement of some cuddles. So yeah, I was talking about days at the Morisaki bookshop, and yeah, that's that. She basically goes on to live amid books and ends up falling in love with them. Like, how can she not, right? This is a very cozy read. If you are looking for one, please pick up this one. It's really adorable. Between life and death, there is a library, she said. And within that library, the shelves go on forever. Every book provides a chance to try another life you could have lived, to see how things would be if you had made other choices. The book is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, and it gives a very fresh perspective on the butterfly effect. If you're aware of it, it is basically that every small decision that we make in our life shapes the whole future, and a little change in any of those slightest of decision can actually change the whole course of your life. So when the protagonist of this book decides to take her own life, she is dropped down into this realm which is between life and death, and she can experience every alternative choices, every alternative way that her life could have turned out to be, by picking up the several thousand books available in that library. This is essentially a slow read, but when it ends, you will feel like you should have had more. This is that kind of a book. The Midnight Library is healing and soothing and pacifying in so many ways. So if you haven't read it already, go pick it up. Why are we so bad at being honest about our feelings? Is it because we are so exhausted from living that we don't have the time to share them? I had an urge to find others who felt the way I did. So decided, instead of aimlessly wandering in search of these others, to be the person they could look for, to hold my hand up high and shout, I am here, I'm right here, hoping that someone would see me waving, recognize themselves in me, and approach me, so we could find comfort in each other's existence. This book is I Want to Die, But I Want to Eat the Woki by Bexy He. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. This book is a non-fiction book, surprisingly, but it reads like a fiction. And this is on the top of today's list. The way I have related to each and every line of this book is insane. This is about a woman who essentially doesn't have, like, things going really wrong in her life. There is nothing inherently too bad, but there is nothing too good as well. She is lost. She doesn't know what's the purpose of her just existing. What if she was not doing what she's doing right now? Would it change a thing? Would it change the person she is? Who is she? It is about self discovery, it is about self love, it is about understanding oneself and giving one another the time and space and the effort that we all deserve. This is the conversation between the author and her therapist, and how she, basically goes from hating her life to enjoying wherever she is and actually living it to its fullest. This is a very beautiful read, and it has such a funky and cool cover and a very catchy name. So if you haven't noticed it yet, I am here. I am making you notice this book. Please go and check it out. It's a beautiful read. And with that, we have come to the end of this video. I recommended 5 books to you guys. I hope that any one of these could become your next read and maybe help you out figuring out things in your life right now. Yeah, so that will be that. Stay hydrated, stay happy, keep reading. I love you guys. Bye bye.